Hello and welcome to the Talking Points for School Teachers Getting Started webinar. Today I'll be walking through logging into your Talking Points account for the first time and sending your first message and using both the web and mobile apps with your Talking Points for School Teachers account. When you go into your web browser, you're going to go to our website, talkingpts.org, or you can go directly to the app. It's app.talkingpts.org and log in. There are a few different ways you'll log in depending on what kind of account your school has or your district has. If your school or district has set up their account through Clever or ClassLink, you'll need to go in through your Clever or ClassLink portal, find the Talking Points app, you'll find our logo here, and set up your Talking Points password there before you can log into the app itself. You might also be able to use Google Single Sign-On if that's something your school supports, if you use Clever or ClassLink. If your school set up their account using a CSV file, then you will just be using your email address. They will have sent you an invitation email to your school email. If you didn't get it, check your spam folder. Sometimes Talking Points emails get forwarded to the spam folder, but you'll be clicking through that invitation email to Talking Points to sign in with your email address and a password. It'll allow you to set up your password. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my email address. Make sure you aren't clicking sign up because your school or district has already signed you up. You have an account. You need to sign in. This is what your Talking Points dashboard will look like once you've sent some messages to your students. At first, you will not see all of these messages because it will be your first time logging in and you will only see the option to send a message. But since your school or district has already set up your account for you, you get to skip the step of adding classes and students and go ahead and start sending messages. So right here you see send a message. Right here you see send an announcement. We differentiate between messages and announcements because you are able to send a direct message to one student's family or to an entire class or all of your students' families. From either of these points, you could send either. So I'm going to click into send a message. First thing I'm going to do is select my recipients. I can choose an entire class if I'd like to send an announcement, or I can select a student or a few different students if they need a specific message just to those families. I'm going to select to send to my third period math class. So I've typed my message. There are a few different things I can do with this message before sending it off. I can add some color to make it pretty for the families that have the parent app. They'll receive the message with the fun colors behind it. I can also choose to attach documents from my computer, PDFs and documents. I can attach photos and videos up to 5 megabytes, which is about 2 to 3 minutes long. And I can also attach things from my Google Drive if I have a Google Gmail account. The other thing I can do is I can create a poll. If I'm sending a message to several families and I'd like to ask a question, I can create a poll. So one of the questions that we see a lot of teachers send out is asking about internet accessibility. If it's a question that you know you want to send out as a poll, you'll give the options. For this, it's a yes or no question. For other questions, I could add additional options, as many as I'd like. I can remove those options. If I change my mind, I can remove the poll altogether and send a different message. There are also templates down here that you can use. We have some that we have created for you that are suggested messages. A lot of them are introductory. Then you'll have saved messages after a while that you've saved. Let's say that first message that I sent, don't forget, homework is due Friday. I know that's something I'm going to send every week, so I want to save that as a template, and it looks like I already have. So every Thursday or Wednesday that I want to send that message, I don't have to type it. I can go in, click it, send it, I'll be good to go. There might also be school messages that your school admins have saved as templates as well that you can save and use when you'd like to. It's important to notice that the only ones you're able to delete are the ones that you've created yourself. So the suggested messages and school messages will be there regardless of whether you use them or not. Once I have my message set up, ready to go, I can either send it immediately or I can decide to schedule it for later. If I do that, this calendar box will pop up. I can choose the day and the time for that to be scheduled. Let's set it for tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I will schedule that, and it has been saved. If I want to see the messages that I have scheduled, I can go into my Messages tab, look up here where it says Scheduled next to the calendar icon, and there's that message. I can either edit it, cancel it, or send it now. A lot of teachers use this not just to get messages done ahead of time, but a lot of teachers will schedule messages so that they can give them a second glance before they send them out to check for typos, to check for accuracy, that sort of thing. I'm going to go ahead and cancel so that this doesn't go out when it doesn't need to. And we'll go back to our dashboard. The other place I can send messages from is this send an announcement box. It's all the same options. If you're sending an announcement, again, it's to entire groups versus those DMs to single families. On the dashboard, once you have started sending messages and communicating with families, you'll see your most recent message threads here. So Penelope's family and Alma's family have been communicating with me. I can click See All to go into those threads. I'll see my recent announcements with the same option. On announcements, however, you'll see these 3 dots that will give you the option to delete. Announcements can be deleted, but only from your view. If you delete an announcement, it only goes away for you. If it's already been sent and received by a recipient, you can't take it away from them because we've already sent it out to their cell carrier. So deleting an announcement only takes it away from your dashboard if you're tired of looking at it and you just want it out of your way. And on the right side of your dashboard, you'll see your most recent activity, kind of your stats to keep track of your communication, your family engagement. You'll see how many messages you've sent, how many announcements you've sent, and the families that have responded in the past 30 days. So let's go into our Message tab. This account hasn't sent many messages because it is a test account, but once you've begun sending messages to all of your families, you'll see all of your announcements here and all of your direct message threads here. You can click into them to see that conversation thread with that student's family. Here, Alma's family has communicated back with us, so we can look at that communication. When you're inside of a student's thread, you can see their name, all of the classes they are assigned to. You can click into which contacts you'd like to communicate with. Automatically, it chooses all contacts, so you'll be communicating with anyone that is assigned as their contact. But if you would like to only have a conversation with the grandfather or the other relative or whoever it is, you can click in and choose that. Sometimes we have students whose parents are not together and they don't want to communicate as a unit. They want to be communicated with separately, and that's totally fine. So you choose to have that conversation with them individually there. These 3 dots up in the corner will allow you to do a few different things. We'll show the student details. You have all of their information, including the classes they're assigned to, their contact information, some of the edit, delete, and change buttons may or may not be there for you since you are in a school account. If you are not an admin, you may not have the permissions to do those things. So if you need to change a phone number, change a relationship role, anything like that, you'll need to contact your admin at the school. The important thing to look at here with contacts is what type of communication we're using with them. Here you see Mushu, the grandfather, is using the parent app, and the other relative, for whom we do not have a name, is using SMS. So there's a couple things to know there. With the SMS users, we will not have read receipts. We won't be able to know when they've read that message. And parents using the parent app will have a few more features that parents using SMS won't have, like the ability to send translations back for review. Looking here at the conversation that Alma's family is having with us, I see if I hover over the message that I sent to Alma's family, this pops up that says Show Translation. When I click on that, I can see the 2 translations that went through when I sent this message. Now, languages can be changed for contacts, so initially one of these languages must have been Hebrew because this message was translated to Spanish and Hebrew for the 2 different contacts. I can do the same thing for the messages that come to me. I can see how they were sent before they were translated. The other option here I have for messages that I receive is help me understand this message, which has been done for this message down here. You'll see up here, the original message said, how does it zoom? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so it looks like the teacher clicked that help me understand this message button, and then a human translator took that message, looked at the conversation, and figured out what they meant to say was, how do I get into Zoom? Because they were having class online. So if there are communications that come through that don't quite make sense, you've got that option through the app to send the message back to a human translator to review it. Down here at the bottom, you can send those direct messages with all the same options here. The light bulb brings up those templates, as well as attaching photos, videos, and documents from your computer and from your Google Drive. You can schedule DMs as well and use emojis. The other options here that you have with your 3 dots, we looked at view student details. You can view chat as if a student is in multiple classes with multiple teachers. You can see the communications that they're having with those different teachers. So right now I'm looking as Isaac Newton, the owner of this account, but I can look at the communications Alma's family has had with Mrs. Delosier as well. Looks like they haven't communicated. Switch back to my view. So when you share a student with other teachers, you'll be able to see the communications that they're having with each other. You can also print the conversations that you're having for your own records, whether those are brought up in parent-teacher conferences or you need to provide proof for your admin at any point. That's there for you as well. Let's look at our Classes tab. Here, Isaac Newton has several classes listed. When you log into your account, your classes will already be populated since your school or district has worked directly with Talking Points to do so. You will be assigned those classes and the students and families within them. You will not be able to add new students, but one thing you can do is when you look at your classes, if you would like to build smaller groups within those classes, you see here there are some math groups and some reading groups created. If that's something you'd like to do as well, you will have this Add Class button. You can create that small group. Let's call it if you want to create some leveled reading classes or leveled reading groups, you'll have the option to create that group and add students who are existing. Add existing students allows you to copy students from your classes into that group. And there you go. So now I can send messages only to my intermediate reading group without having to select them each time I'd like to communicate with them. So looking at a roster of a class that has been set up for me, I can click to send an announcement to the entire class. I can search for students by name. I can see individual information like how many contacts they have, what communication we're using, clicking into their communication, as well as copying them to one of those small groups that I have. And these edit and remove may or may not be available to you depending on your permissions as a teacher or an admin. If I'd like to view students by last name, that is also an option. In these school teacher accounts, depending on my permissions, again, I can share classes with teachers, but your admin probably have already shared classes with all the teachers that need to see them. Renaming the class may or may not be available for you, but if it is, you can call it whatever makes sense to you. Archiving and deleting classes is usually something that happens at the end of a semester or the end of a school year, and since you have admin running your account, that's something they will take care of. Seeing the class details will show which staff members are associated with this class and the name and grade if it is provided. After the Classes tab, you have an option to see our Help Center. This is an important one I want you to remember because this will take you directly to our Help Center where we have tons of articles on just about every topic you could have a question about regarding your Talking Points account. We've organized them by topic. You can search by what you're looking for. If you're wanting to learn how to send a poll, search for it, and here are all the articles that talk about creating, sending, and reading the results of polls. If you do not find the answer that you are looking for, we have an option for you to start a chat with us on our teacher support channel. So down here in the right-hand corner, you see this speech bubble. If you click into it, you have an option to send us a message, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Since you are in a school or district account, you do get priority in us answering your questions that you send to us. So please peruse the articles that we've created for you because we have answered a lot of the questions ahead of time. But if you do have a question for us, we are more than happy to answer them for you right there. So we're going to go back into our account and look at our profile information. Down here at the bottom, you'll see your name. You can click in there and you have 4 options. Log out, of course. You've got your settings. Personal information, you can add an avatar, a picture of yourself. I know a lot of teachers are using their Bitmojis these days. You can put whatever there that you would like to put. I know that the picture is a little bit more important these days since a lot of our teachers aren't seeing families face to face. And your signature is important as well because especially for your families who use that SMS communication, they want to see you signing off on it because they want to know exactly who these messages are coming from. Here it says Mr. Newton because the families don't call me Isaac, they're going to call me Mr. Newton. So put what it is that your families and students call you in your signature box. Your email will not be able to change because that is what your account is set up through. This option here, second language, is an important one to look at if you are bilingual or multilingual. If there is a language like Spanish for this account that you speak in addition to English, you can add that as your second language and it will give you the option to skip translation when you are sending messages to other Spanish-speaking families. That way you don't have to go through translation. You can go ahead and use the language that you're proficient in. Your school settings should be set, but you can take a look at it, add anything that might be missing. Notifications are something that you personalize and should look at pretty soon after logging into your account. You decide how often you are notified about your messages that come in and whether you get those notifications through email or text message or both. The available hours are very important because you could either select that you are available to receive message all hours of the day and you will get those notifications no matter when a message comes in, or you can select a certain block of the day as your office hours, and that's the only time you'll receive notifications of messages. And then if parents send you messages outside of that time, you won't receive those messages or notifications of them until that next day, unless you go into the app on your own and see that they're there. This is our way of helping you keep that healthy boundary between home and work. You can, of course, change your password here. And school year, if you are a new user, will not be relevant yet, but in the following school year, if you have been using Talking Points for more than one school year, you'll be able to go back and it will bring up your messages from that school year. So looking here, you see now there are a lot more messages here because last school year we had a lot more messages sending back and forth, whereas when I go back into the current school year, it's just begun, so I don't have very many messages yet. It helps us keep that clutter down in our message inbox. The two other options you have here in your profile is Share the Love, which is simply a way to share on Facebook and Twitter how much you love Talking Points with other teachers who may not know about it, and Archived Classes, which is something that your admin will have access to, possibly not you, but archiving classes is another way to move those classes out of your way when a school year or semester is over without having to delete them. So that is something that's available to you. That about does it for our web app. We're going to switch over to our Talking Points for Teachers mobile app. Looking at the Talking Points for Teachers mobile app, please make sure when you download the app that you download the Talking Points for Teachers and not for Parents app. The Teachers one is white with our logo and says Teachers. When you open it up, it'll have a couple of screens for you to scroll through explaining all of the wonderful things we offer, and then you'll come to the sign-in screen. Again, if your school uses Clever or ClassLink, you will have to sign in on the computer through those portals first before you can get on through the app. Otherwise, you're ready to get on through the app. So I am going to sign in with the email that I used on the computer. Once you sign in, you will see your dashboard. It will look much like this. The top two buttons that you have, again, are to send a direct message or an announcement. The difference is an announcement goes to an entire group and a direct message is to one family. You'll see your recent messages, and if you click into see all, you'll see that thread of messages that you've sent recently. The same is true for recent announcements and your summary at the bottom, just like it is on the web app. If you click in to send a direct message or an announcement, again, you'll click to select your recipients first. Just click a few, type in a message or choose a template. And then the send button is up in the right-hand corner rather than at the bottom. So that's your dashboard. In the Messages tab, which is the second on the bottom, you'll see all of your student threads that you have. Again, you're not messaging the students, you're messaging their families, but they are labeled by student. If you swipe to the left, you can delete a thread. When you click into a thread, you'll see that full conversation that you've had with that family. I didn't show online what it looks like when you receive responses for a poll. So looking here at your poll response for what's your child's favorite food, if I click on this poll, I'll get a little bit more detail about those responses. It tells me exactly who responded to that question saying pizza. And then looking at the overview, I can see the number of parents. Up in the right-hand corner, there's 3 dots, so I can view the student's details as I did on the web, as well as viewing the chat as other teachers or as the school. So that's what the message tab is. Up in the top, you can see on the left the calendar icon for any scheduled messages that might be there. And then the top right is the pencil icon, which will let you start a brand new message. The classes tab is the third one. It's the clipboard, and it lists all the classes and groups that I have. If I click into one, it shows all of the details of that class. So I can see on the dashboard for ELA period 1 for Newton, I see past announcements that I've sent, again that poll that I can click into. If I click the I in the top corner, I can see all of the details for that class. And I can do those things for any of these classes. When I click on the 3 dots for each class, I can see view student list, add students, edit class, delete class. Again, as a school or district teacher, not admin, you may or may not have add, edit, or delete options, but if they are there, you are able to do so. When I click profile, which is the last option that I have, I see my main profile and settings options. The very top right corner is a pencil for me to edit my profile. Allows me to add a picture, change my name, my second language, all of the things from the web application. And if I change it here or on the web, it will transfer to both. So I will not have to do that twice. My summary is here, as well as my options to change password, notifications, and school settings, all of which are the same as they are on the web app. And support, help center, all of that information that takes me to that help center and help chat that I also have the option for on the web. So that is it for the Talking Points for School Teachers Getting Started webinar. If you do have questions about your account that cannot be answered by an article that we have in our Help Center, feel free to start a chat with us, or you can email your question to hello@talkingpts.org, and we will help you out. Thanks for watching.